and good day. I am Noramin bin Mohamed Noor. I will present on the introduction of the roles of sports in the development of an individual personality traits. Background of study. For the background of study, it is well known that physical determinants that achieve through well organized sports training contribute to success in sports. Despite somatic predispositions and physical conditions, most athletes cannot achieve championship. Papera 2021. The enduring times and hard training have not only prepared them physically, but also developing their best of personality inside them unconsciously. Contemporary personality psychologists believe that there are five basic dimensions of personality, often referred to as the big five personality traits, which is extroversion, agreeableness, openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. It is difficult to distinguish and define the most favorable types of personality as it is largely influenced by the trained sports discipline and the personality conditions of athlete depends on it. The intention of the study is to define the personality traits or attributes that would significantly make the athletes stand against other person who does not participate in sports. Problem statement. The association between personality traits and natural variations in physical activity have been consistently shown. However, the association between personality and active participation in both academic and sports remain lacking and less clear. As for the current curriculum emphasizes on nurturing individuals' talent, there is a need on how the composition would internally beneficial an individual in a long run. The study would be focusing on athletes who were currently undergoing academic years. With rapid exposure, competitions, and packed schedule, this study on the association of personality and sportsmen would show how do they differ from other students that is not participate in sports. The modification of one's routine towards his or her daily life in years would alter their personality accordingly. Further affected by the Movement Control Order or the MCO, it is somehow a very challenging time for the athlete in developing themselves as a holistic human and competitive athlete. Objectives of study. Number one, to assess the effect of sports on shaping sportsmen' personality traits and attributes. Number two, to determine the factors affecting sportsmen's personality traits development. And number three, to differentiate between sportsmen and non-sportsmen's personality attributes. Research questions. Research question number one, how does sports contribute to shaping sportsmen's personality traits or attributes? Research question number two, what are the factors affecting sportsmen's personality traits development? Research question number three, how does sportsmen and non-sportsmen personality differ? The significance of a study. Through comprehensive exploration of this study on personality of athlete and non-athlete, the influence of active participation in sports among university students and their personality would be unraveled and scrutinized. This study will give awareness to the society on how this principle might affect current sports contact in the country, which is the perspective of parents towards their kids' involvement in sports, for example. Sports, for example. The stakeholders, like the government, parents, and other stakeholders of an individual development, will have a new approach on how to deal with this issue by learning from the past. And the overview of this study will be useful for future discussion of the connection between personality and athletes. The limitations of the study. This study was conducted in UiTM Perlis, a local university for a population of 27 adults aged around 25 to 40 years old, includes 23 sports science students, a lecturer, and 3 others who are close acquaintances in a university in Pahang. 4 of them were selected as the focusing group for the interview session, which they are all selected from a different background. Researcher chose 2 representatives each of a different gender as the sample. This study would not have a precise information of the students from urban and city area that would have a more exposure on sports facilities and exposure towards a more developed and sophisticated surrounding area. The university was located quite far from a sophisticated area and lack of sports facilities and social life that would face a different environment and support system.
Salam and hi everyone. My name is Herawati binti Ibrahim. I'm going to present about literature review of roles of sports in the development of an individual personality traits. According to Allen and Laborde in 2014, personality can be defined as the pattern of feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. Personality has a big role to play in achieving success in the sports world. According to Carr et al., a trait is a trademark which can be related to an individual, for instance, extraversion. In 2018, Aronson stated that the Big Five model is very useful in understanding specifically how personality traits relate to athletes and their success. Composed of 5 traits, this model dictates that all individuals lie on a continuum for openness to change, neuroticism, extraversion, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. According to Singh in 2019, sports is undoubtedly one of the best ways to enhance the physical and mental health of an individual, but not many people realize that it is also a great practice to develop the character and personality of an individual. Singh concluded that sports could improve social skills, instill important values, improve self-confidence, improve motivation, instill sympathy and empathy, and enhance team building. Sports provides a platform for personality development as there are opportunities to learn handling of emotions, practice interpersonal skill, build social relations, enhance athletic skill, and non-academic skills. According to Ilyasi and Salehian in 2011, personality can be influenced by some factors such as environment, which is family, sports, community, school, and nature of sports. Another factors are heredity and gender. Albert Bandura believes that behavior can be learned by observing others doing the same expected outcomes. Significant difference in the personality traits between athletes and non-athletes, but Davis and Mock in 1994 found no significant difference among elite and non-elite athletes, entertainment group, and non-athletes in extraversion, neuroticism, psychoticism, paratelic, and tendency to success. According to Aronson in 2018, of these 5 trait continuums, athletes were found to be more extroverted, conscientious, and less neurotic than non-athletes. In other words, athletes are more sociable, achievement-oriented, and emotionally stable. Furthermore, when athletes competing at different levels of difficulty, elite athletes competing at more advanced levels were specifically found to have higher levels of extraversion, emotional stability, and conscientiousness. According to Ilyasi and Salehian in 2011, endurance athletes have higher extraversion than non-athletes. Top and Akil in 2018 stated that the individuals engaged in sports are more extrovert compared to the ones who are not engaged in sports. Sports people have positive personality traits that help them in dealing with the various situations of life. Students who do not participate in sports have barriers like lack of interest, social and cultural barriers, peer pressure, and lower priority. In conclusion, In the study of athletes' personality characteristics, either individual or team sport athletes provide an opportunity for sport counselor, coaches, and specialists to discover and select the talented ones for guiding them to the highest level of skills. Incorporating sports in life can nurture your overall personality in the best possible way. Coaches need to understand each athlete and their personality traits. This will result in planning better strategies and selecting correct tactics during the game. Islamic perspective of personality traits. Personality in Islam is viewed as a multidimensional entity comprised of body, mind, and spirit that interact with one another and constitute an individual human beings. In Arabic, term personality translates to shakhsiyah and psychology to ilm and nafs. Shakhsiyah used to describe individual traits, characteristics, and was traditionally addressed in Islamic philosophy. According to Khir et al. In 2016, when the Big Five personality is viewed based on Muslim individual perspective, person is taught to be responsible and abstain from committing sins, which is conscientious, patient and tawakkal, which means wholehearted, which is emotionally stability, musyawarah, which means consultation, which is agreeableness, refrain from being talking unproductively, which is opposite of extraversion, and display modesty and upheld conservative values originally taught by Quran and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is opposite of openness to experience. In Islamic perspective, the concept of personality is derived from human nature, which is considered dialectical. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Nadia. I want to explain about research methodology. The contents include the research design of study, the population and sample, the sampling technique and procedures, and the instrument. This study employed a qualitative research design, specifically a case study design, with the use of multiple data sources to establish the credibility of the findings from year 2014. This was achieved mainly through the interview and supported by the analysis of the certain document and will convinced by the questionnaire. The population is 27 adults aged around 25 to 40 years, includes 23 sports science students at UIT Perlis and a friend who works as a lecturer there, as well as three other close acquaintances in Pahang. The researcher managed to get four from them as the main respondents for the interview session from different backgrounds. By the way, researchers choose two representative as a sample from male and two from female. A man and a woman are active in sport, and also a man and a woman are not active in sport. The researcher used purposive and convenient sampling technique. The reliability of the data is achieved through several means, through direct interviews and supported by written facts by researchers related to this topic before. A pilot interview was conducted and minor modifications were made to ensure that the interview questions were clear and easily understood by the prospective interviewees. After obtaining interview permission from four respondents selected as a sample, the researcher conducted four interview sessions, three face-to-face and one interview session through online medium, especially through Google Meetings application for approximately 15 to 20 minutes each one respondent. The respondents were briefed before the interview. The interviews were based on the interview guide, focused on the research question and focused on the respondents' experience and their perceptions of the research topic. All the information conveyed through the interview by the respondent will be recorded with careful handwriting by the researcher. In this study, the instruments used were questionnaire and interviews. The researcher has prepared the instrument through Google Form application for the questionnaire to be distributed to the population, while the interview instrument is the same as the questionnaire instrument but only modified according to the suitability of the respondent. The study items in the interview data collection methods contain three sections. The first part is about the contribution of sports in shaping sportsmen's personality traits. The second part is about factors affecting sportsmen's personality traits. And the last part is about the difference between sportsmen and non-sportsmen in terms of personality. The questionnaire is entitled Sports and Personality Traits is comprised of four sections. All section is subjective questions. Section A is the demographic background of the respondent contains the information about the respondent's gender, age, and profession. For the section B, C, and D, the respondent needs give short answer. There are a total of two items in section B. Focus on the contribution of sports in shaping sportsmen's personality traits. Next in section C is about factors affecting sportsmen's personality traits, which contains three items. The last section is section D. There are two items which explain about the difference between sportsmen and non-sportsmen in terms of personality. Overall, the study used 7-item questionnaire to get the information from respondents. The complete questionnaire automatically submitted to researcher after the respondents completely fill the Google Form application. Systematically, a total of 27 complete questionnaire forms were received by the Google Drive application. Four of them were selected as the study sample for interview. The result of interviews with four respondents as a sample of the study are recorded in the interview transcription. Refer to the findings of study. The first respondent thinks that exercising or playing sports can increase self-confidence in terms of a cheerful and energetic character as well as a charming self-appearance and also be able to self-discipline by being on time during training and following the rules while in the game. The second respondent agreed to sport can educate a person to be disciplined and can shape a sportsman's personality, such as being punctual, adhering to rules, assertive, and acting efficiently. The third respondent said sports can shape a sportsman's personality, such as punctual person and orderly. And the last respondent also agreed that sports can help build self-confidence. As their confidence level increase, attitudes will become more positive and proactive. They are they can discipline themselves by being on time for training and adhering to the rules of the game. Therefore, they will be educated with the nature of assertiveness, trust, and responsibility. Based on study findings from interviews, researchers found that the first respondent agreed sport makes her healthy and fit and able to maintain a slim body. It also makes it easier for her to move actively in perform daily tasks as well as to relieve stress for a while because it is fun and loses boredom. The second respondent said sports are necessary for health and the activity is so much fun. The third respondent agrees sports making him healthy and fit. It makes it easier for him to be active in performing daily tasks and always feel fresh and not lazy. Then the last respondent said sports are necessary for humans. Refer to the result of study. The first respondent saw the difference between sportsmen and non-sportsmen in terms of personality. That its sportsmen will always look fresh and fit, but non-sportsmen look lifeless. While the second respondent said that its sportsmen looking dashing and always enthusiastic, but no for non-sportsmen. Then the third respondent saw that its sportsmen looking proactive and enthusiastic, but no for non-sportsmen. And the last respondent said that his sportsmen are look fit, very active and cheerful. It is so different with non-sportsmen, which is their looks like it does not want to compete and very quiet. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
As for the discussion, the results showed that there are differences in the intensity of individual personality traits between individual sports, as shown mostly by diverse thinking and creativity of individual athletes. Besides that, the results reveal that individual athletes at lower levels of neuroticism and greater levels of extroversion, agreeableness, and consciousness than the rest of the athletes. The general profile of athletes in terms of the big five is low neuroticism, high extroversion and consciousness, as well as average openness to experience and agreeableness. Next, from the obtained data, we could observe that individual sports were not only distinguished from the rest of the athletes by openness to experience. Also, a sports score can be determined based on the intensity of an athlete's personality traits. Therefore, personal attributes should be utilized to predict athletic performance. The study's findings reveal that exercise not only provide enthusiasm, healthiness, liveliness, and increased activity, but it also reduces fear, worry, melancholy, and discomfort. One of the outcomes of the current study is that trust is one of the components of the agreement in the context of more agreeable team sports athletes compared to individual sports athletes. Trust as a strong attachment allows individuals to rely on others and establish interpersonal relationships and activities, as well as more easily and consistently participate in collective collective and community relationships and activities. Besides that, group exercises are one of the great areas to implement this feature. Based on these findings, an agreement based on individual trust is more favorable to group exercise, which benefits the agreement of the athletes of the group's sports over the agreement of the individual athletic players. Also, adherence is another component of agreement that allows a person to get more connected with others. This connects an individual's personality to group activities, explaining why athletes in solo and team sports disagree. Lastly, friendship is also a component to an agreement that enables a person to assist and love others while also serving his or her own group and group activities. As a conclusion, athletes' personalities are determined largely by their discipline in which they have been groomed, Each sport has slightly different psychological needs for its individuals. It can be said that the sports activity that is undertaken shapes the personality, and the shaped personality traits have an influence on the solutions chosen in the beginning itself. Individual sports champions are unique from others simply by their openness to new experiences. Therefore, the amount of neuroticism, agreeableness, extroversion, and consciousness may affect the outcome of an individual sports competition. And just like with sports comparisons, the intensity level of openness to experiences is determined by the uniqueness of the sports. That's all from me. Thank you.